Hi, I'm Euge Valovirta, and on this one I will compare my big old live rig, which is nowadays my studio rig, to my current small live rig. This is the subject that I've gotten probably the most questions of all time, so I decided to do a separate video. I done videos quite some time ago about the live rig and stuff, but to be honest, that video isn't that good. I mean, it was what it was when I started the channel, so I decided to do a new one, and I'm trying to cover this whole subject here as good as I can. Okay, so my studio rig, those of you who have followed my channel and check out the videos, you know, Marshall 800s, GSL 5150. So this is the rig that I used to use live. I mean, I had two 800s here, and I actually had two of these Friet fat bottom cabinets. But since I'm a luckily an internationally touring musician and been playing bands that have been touring and hopefully in the future will continue to do so all over the world, you know, North America, Europe, Japan, Russia, you name it. Obviously, it's not possible to carry this kind of rig with me in aeroplanes and whatever, you know. Next week I'm playing in Japan, then we fly to Russia, then to Europe. It's not possible. So, it was always rental backline, like 90% of the time. This was in Finland, so always when I played in Finland, I was able to use this. And at some point I just had enough of rental amps and stuff. Sometimes they were good, sometimes they weren't, and you know, always a hassle, because on tour you want everything to work smoothly, be consistent, easy to load in, easy to load out, no hassle, because you know how it is on tour. It's really hectic, you know, you play, you know, 25 shows in, you know, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. It's, you don't want any outside distractions. You want your rig, your sound to be consistent, same night after night, country after country, venue after venue. So I decided that there should be another way to do it. I didn't want to go to the modeling, you know, software route, because I just don't feel confident with that stuff. You know, you have a computer on stage. Basically, those are computers, those multi things, and they sound good. And live, the playing feel is really good also. But I didn't want to go that, because I don't want to worry when I'm playing that will my, you know, computer needs to be rebooted, or will have the latest firmware or whatever, you know, saving banks and presets, and too complicated. It has to be easy and consistent. So, you know, I boost amps with Overdrive, no matter the amp. I have a couple of basic pedals in there. So I did this. So basically what I have here, hope you can see, Super Overdrive, like on my other studio board, Super Overdrive in front of a amp, boosting a preamp. Friedman BE-OD. This is my preamp. So this is basically Friedman's BE amplifier in a box, which basically is hot-rodded Plexi or 800, that British Marshall style grow. And I use it like I would use an 800 or tube amp. So there's quite a little amount of gain, because this thing has so much gain that, I mean, I've trimmed the gain trim pot inside. As a factory preset, it's noon, but I think I have it like on 10 o'clock, and I still barely open the gain. So this gets me that 800 style sound, which cleans up nicely with the guitar's volume. Then I boost it to get my sound, the sound with overdrive. And the noise gate, well, now it's after the gain stages, so just to get rid of the hiss. So basically, because it's after the preamp, so basically this would be like kind of in a loop. Sometimes I have it after the SD. Doesn't really matter. Whatever, wherever, whatever does the job. So get rid of the hiss. And then this Neunaber Iconoclast stereo parametric speaker emulator. This is fantastic, because when we decided to go ampless with Cyhra, so that we always would have the same gear, the same sound, same consistency, no matter where in the world, whenever, you know, whether it's a small club or a big festival or ice hall, the sound is the same, the gear is the same, easy, you know. So basically what this does, this is basically what I have here, the power amp section of an amp, the cabinet, the speakers, and the microphones. So this thing does it all. So basically I have a SD into preamp into this. So this looks like a very simple thing. Headphones, gate, 0, low, mid, high. Under the hood, there's lots of stuff going on. We can change the, you know, sag, how a tube amp sags, power compression, how it, you know, speaker compression. Basically, I can, with the software, yes, software, I can make this sound really close to how my amplifier sounds into speaker, into cabinet, into speakers, into microphone, or into the reactive load with my favorite Jens Bugre impulse responses. And that's what I've done. And with these low, mid, and high knobs, these aren't your usual what amplifier has. So, as you know, we know bass, it's a certain frequency that the amp designer has designed that it boosts or cuts. What this one does, the lows, it shapes the whole low frequency thing. I've done a separate video back in the day about this, where I show what happens. So it shapes the whole low frequency, mids, it shapes the kind of mid frequency, the way that you have set it to do, like with the software. And the highs, that kind of removes the how much there is highs, whereas the low cut is there the little bit air. Like I have said it, like when it's the green dot, when it's here, it's kind of like the live sound, so there's not that much highs, because when it comes out of the PA, it's really loud. And front of house engineers, what they do, they always usually cut the lows and the highs from the guitar, because that needs to be on middle frequencies, you know, when they are mixing. And actually Cyhra's sound guy, he said that he barely have to do any EQ with the mixing desk with my sound. Then when I turn it a little bit up, I programmed it that it lifts the air, the kind of hiss what you want to have when you're recording, so that the sound is in your face. Because my live sound, it's when I'm recording, it's a bit dull, but live it works really well because, you know, it's coming like 120 dBs out of the PA. So if there is those, that highs, you know, I have a lot of presence when I'm recording. Live, I usually don't have that much presence. Anyways, this is really handy. So this is basically my live rig. This isn't the actual pedal board because I have a wah-wah, chorus, a couple of other effects. I don't have it now because it's in Gothenburg at Cyhra's headquarters. It's been there for a year. So we did our latest tour in UK in February and we were supposed to go out quickly after that, but that didn't happen. So our crew, you know, took the gear after the tour to our studio and warehouse in Sweden. And actually, I have a video from that studio where I show the pedal board. That's actually been released on Cyhra's YouTube channel, but I edited a quick bit, which we're gonna check out next, so you'll see my actual pedal board, which has been the same few years. So let's check that now. Our pedal boards, or mine, let's go through it quickly. What we use, so we play directly, as we say, in a mixer, so we don't use any amplifiers or cabinets live. So everything is all of my rig is basically here. This is everything is here. So the signal without any pedals is just the Neunaber Iconoclast speaker emulator, which simulates my speaker. So, and my amp, so to speak, is the Friedman. So it's kind of the basic sound, and if I want to have it clean, I just roll down the volume, add some nice delay. That's my clean tone. It isn't completely clean, but I like it that way that it isn't. And then my heavy tone, I just add the classic Super Overdrive. Like that. So what you hear is from the studio speakers, but on live the sound will go into our in-ears, and you know, from to the front of house from the PA speakers, and so that's basically my setup. I mean, I have a, you know, my lead sound is basically the same. I just hit the delay and so because this boost is post distortion, so it will add volume, and it's not pushing the pedals, but this pedal is pushing this, so it adds more gain. And then your usual chorus, flanger, phaser, which I use from time to time, and I don't actually use it on that song because that's a Pantera song, but I use it on a couple of our songs, mainly for the I believe Here to Save You. Yeah, Here to Save You. But yeah, so that's basically it. Okay, so there you go. But as you saw, the main thing for my sound is SD into preamp and Iconoclast. All the other stuff, that's just, you know, I can live without that stuff. This is the key. And for the guitars, those my Cyhra guitars, which I've used on albums also, they are in the Gothenburg as well. So I thought that, well, while we're at it, let's check out those two. So, small clip about my guitars and the tunings for Cyhra. So, basically, this is kind of our live setup. In studio, I mean, we used real amps, bunch of different guitars, but this is what we use live. So, kind of my main guitar is an ESP
Custom Shop Japan made. Okay, it's my signature model. Mahogany body, really thick, full thickness, maple top, maple neck. It's kind of satin feel, shaved neck. Here's the tuning for our guitar tech, so he remembers what tuning we use. Ebony fingerboard, jumbo frets, EMG 57, 66 pickups. Yeah, that's tuned into standard C. Then my other main guitar, if you would say, is it's same but reversed color. Everything's the same, 57, 66, maple neck. But this is tuned to drop A, which is the second tuning we use. So it's basically like standard B, which is 2.5 steps down from standard E, and then the low E string is dropped to A. People have been asking that why two totally different tunings, why don't just drop this C tuned guitar to drop B flat, but it's because the keys of songs, not keyboards, but the keys, because we have a couple of songs that goes in A minor, like Heart Rage, and we tried to play that in B flat minor, but it was just a little bit too high for Jake, and we wanted to have that low end, so we decided that let's tune the guitars to fit that song, and luckily we have other songs too that this tuning fits, but the majority is the standard C. Then my spare guitar is a Hetfield Iron Cross LTD. Really good guitars, factory made. I've changed the tuners because the original ones weren't that good in my opinion. These are the Hetfield microphone set. And this is spare, as it says, C/drop A. So if I break a string, then the guitar tech needs to just, if it's a C tuned guitar, then he will just, you know, handle this. Me, if it's the drop A, then he will be in a hurry to down tune this guitar. And the strings I use on both tunings, DR DDT 12 to 60. We use wireless systems. Sennheiser EW 500s, 2 packs, A, B, A for the main, B for the drop A guitar. Yeah, that's about it for the guitars.
Okay, so there you go. Now you have an idea of my live setup, but how does it actually sound? Well, let me hook this up. And yes, this is a stereo, because our front of house guy said that he wants to have 2 signals. Like when he mics the cab, he mics it with 2 microphones, so then he can make it wide or narrow or pan or whatever, spread it in the mix from the PA, what the audience hears. So I connect these 2 cables and it goes into inputs 3 and 4, which is panned left and right. So this basic same thing happens on stage. So we have this big rack, where's the inputs and outputs, and I just connect my board into that, and from that the signal goes into front of house and into our in-ear monitors. Actually, I have a video of that also. That's from a European tour we did with Battle Beast, and that is from Lausanne, where I quickly show the stage setup. So let's check that now.
And everything goes through this cable loom, snake. So there goes power, signal from wireless to the board, and to stereo signal from Neunaber back to this long snake to the Radial stereo DI. So this comes from the board and this goes to the XLRs to the mixer. And this is coming from wireless unit, which is here. So it goes out here to that, and then, yeah, really simple.
Okay, so there you go. And the DI box there, it's basically to make the cables longer. And since the Radial DIs, they are fantastic. They have these Jensen transformers, so that actually kind of brings some warmth, something to the sound. And why the 57, 66 pickups on my guitars? Not why not 81, 85? I like them both, and EMDs are so easy to swap. You know, there's no soldering. You just so I had 5766 on this one. I, you know, change them every now and then just to, because why not? They're really close. The 5766 they have a little bit more of that high air and more low mid, kind of like the active EMGs combined with vintage PFS. Okay, enough yapping. How does this sounds? Well, it sounds like this. Just some noodling. So it sounds pretty good. And without the SD, so I don't have a separate lead sound. Every now and then I just hit the delay that you saw on the clip, and the volume boost, that's basically for my in-ear mix to make it more audible to me. Our front of house guys does the, you know, volume thing so the audience could hear it, whatever is needed. So it sounds really good. But how does it sound in a mix? Let's see. I made a song for this video. It's kind of like a little bit in the Cyhra style. So there's harmonies. We use those a lot in our riffs, like third harmonies. So I programmed the drums, played the bass, and played guitar left, which is like the root notes, and then I'm gonna play guitar right, which I do live also. So I usually play most of the harmonies, melodies, well, all leads and stuff, and if the riffs has harmonies, I play them, and Markus Sunesson, our other guitar player, plays the like root note stuff. And someone's gonna ask anyway, where is Jesper? Well, that's a good question. He is still in the band, but he hasn't played with us in a couple of years. Personal matters. Just like that. And well, how does it compare to real amplifiers? Well, let's check that out. I'm gonna unplug this cable from here. I'm gonna put it to my studio board, which goes into Radial, Headbone, Euge, and into these two amps to the reactive load, and I have Jens Buchre's IR there. Then I check out how the 5150 sounds. So it's like that. I mean, with real tube amp, you get this more like 3D kind of sound, and those high, that especially, it's really audible with single mode stuff. Let's switch back to the here. A little bit more highs. Back to the 5150. So like this, I mean, there's a difference with real tube amps is real tube amp is real tube amp. The depth, you know, the everything, but I must say that for this size and the price and how easy and convenient it is to use, it's really awesome. And no one has ever complained about my guitar sound. So 1550. How this sounds in a mix? Well, let's see. that's that. And well, while we're at it, let's compare it to 5150 and 800. 5150. So, they're all a little bit different. I like them all. I actually really like that the sound of the live rig, because it's like, you know, feels like to me and sounds like you will hit, you know, something with an like iron bar, like down. Because the tide switch on the Friedman is awesome, so I had to dial it it's quite a lot, and then the Super Overdrive tightens it even more, so it's really like gagang, gagang, like chunk, like dang. So that's actually, it's different than the tube amps, but in a way it's tighter. So that was that. Hopefully this gave you some ideas also, so that to achieve a good live sound you don't necessarily need to have like the rig size of 2 refrigerators, or those quite expensive and, in my experience, a bit unreliable multi-effect computers, processors, whatever those are. But you can achieve great results with just well, couple $100. And this fits into your backpack and sounds great, works like a charm. You know, you can drive over with probably with a, you know, tank, and it still, those will work. Hopefully this answers to all of your questions, what I use and why. Hey, this was a bit longer one. Hope you enjoyed watching this and maybe got some ideas to build your own live rig or gear in general. So you don't always need to have a expensive vintage tube amps. Obviously those doesn't hurt, but you can get a good sound with less cheaper, smaller, because it's all here. Anyways, hey, thanks for watching. Take care, bye.